Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm gonna do a full face project pan items. Honestly, I hate my eyeshadow palette choices, and so I need to try and force myself to use them. So that's what we're gonna do today. So if you're interested in seeing what I create on a face, then let's just get into it. Okay, so I really like the Pat McGrath palette that I chose for my project pan, alright? I'm fine with that choice. Now this palette, the Ace Beaute palette, I regret completely and entirely, and I should have been more aware of this picking it out. It's all, like half of this palette is orange. I don't use orange. I actually, orange is one of my favorite colors, but I hate the color orange for eyeshadow. I just don't like the way it looks on me very often. It does tend to look good with blue hair, so now that my hair is blue or teal, I suppose, it might work a little bit better, but we'll kind of see how it goes. So first I'm going to use the NYX Ultimate Shadow and Liner Primer for my eyeshadow primer. And just throw a little bit of that on. It's like end of day, it's starting to, you know, descend into dusk, so I'm not too worried about longevity, but nothing in me can stand to use a concealer, especially on camera for the world to see. Move my mirror to a better place, I think. It kind of makes me a little like light and bright because it's a lighting mirror. It's got lights. My god. Okay, so you think the only way I'm gonna be able to suffer through this orange and these reds and stuff is if I just use them or try to mix a new color together, or god, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what I could do to make this eyeshadow palette pretty now. I like the top row and I like the bottom row. The middle row, actually I lied, I really like the dark brown, but the middle row is just ass. I just really don't like these colors. I always use blues and greens though, don't I? I mean, look at my hair, look at my Cardi. Okay, we're gonna go into Hazelnut, which is the more like terracotta orange rather than like pumpkin orange. The other one's name is pumpkin, so it's fitting. I'm gonna put that on my outer corner and see where we land. That's as much as I could possibly muster with this horrible eyeshadow color. And this brush is the Nabella set with e.l.f. I don't believe it's still available, but it might be. I don't keep up with that sort of thing, you know? Okay, we're gonna bring it up a little higher. Hopefully if I use blue in this look, it will come together for me, you know, like a good blue. Then I'm gonna go in with this Sigma brush, the diffused crease brush, the E38, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Cider, which is the like mustardy kind of shade. And I'm gonna load this on my brush because I think a mustard is probably the most flattering on me rather than an orange. So I'm gonna see if I can kind of diffuse this to be more mustard at the top rather than orange, so there's not as much orange available to see. I suppose that will work. I suppose. And then I'm gonna go in with the deepest brown, which is the shade Acorn. And I'm gonna use a little bit of that to deepen up my outer corner. Hopefully when I mix all of these together, we won't see very much warm. We won't see very much orange, and it'll just kind of turn brown, brown and yellow, brown and mustard. Really want to go back in with the brush that I used for the yellow, but I haven't done my other eye yet. Okay, we're gonna use the Morphe M506, I should know the name by now, and go back in with Cider to kind of help blow out this brown a little bit. I've kind of found that as I've used this palette, I don't know that I love the Ace Beaute formula. It's workable, but it's not my favorite by any means, honestly. I think that the matte formula could use some work. It's not bad, but I feel like I could get the same quality out of like one of the Maybelline City Mini palettes, if not better. So that's kind of where I struggle here. I think I'm gonna do kind of a classic eye look where I do all of the shades kind of rounded on my eye, and then I add something just on the eyelid rather than like a half cut crease kind of thing. So I'm gonna start that process. I'm gonna round it out here and start to blow the brown upwards because I have hooded eyes, so I'm not gonna be able to see the lid shade unless my crease is higher. God really said fuck you when he created my eyelids, honestly. Honestly. Ooh, do I have an idea that could pull this together? Maybe. I'm gonna mix the shade Moss and Sherbet, the two greens, and I'm gonna try and put that above. I'm gonna use mostly Moss and then a little bit of that limey shade just to like lighten it up a little. But maybe I can put that above the brown, turn it into like a pukey kind of shade up here. I love a good pukey shade, so this should work out well for me. Just like a hint of green, you know? And the brush that I used with the yellow, that Sigma brush, I'm gonna take the shade Sherbet again and dust it over the top. See if I can add more green to it. I'm not loving this blend, but like I said, the formula could use some work in my experience so far. All right, so this is how I'll use the oranges. I'll simply cover them up. Oh, but I kind of like it. I kind of like that pop of no color that I added. Like, oh, where'd the orange come from? Don't know, but it's there. Okay. Now I'm not left with much in terms of shimmer shades here, so let's kind of see where we can land. So I don't really know that any of the shades that I wanted are in this palette, but I have no idea where our custom, like with all of our Cleona. Oh, it's because I changed it to JD Glow, so I have no idea. I literally have no idea where they are. So this is the custom palette we have with some neons and some Cleona shades. The neons are from MBA Cosmetics, but they no longer sell them. They're decent. They're not that good though, so do with that what you will. What shade should I use? This kind of emerald green could be fun, but it doesn't really match the mustardy green that we have going on. Or we could do, ooh, sold. What the fuck is that called? I can't remember. Opulent, Cleona Cosmetics Opulent. I'm gonna use a brush for this. This is just a Morphe brush. It just says Morphe, so I cannot provide you with any further detail. I'm gonna kind of dig into this a little bit and start putting it on my eyelids. This shade to me is perfect with both cool and warm tones. It's an incredible, incredible shade. So I'm gonna pop this all over my eyelid. Because we made our fake crease so I can. And then I'll go in with the little mini Morphe brush that I used from earlier to kind of blend the two together. Now I like this look, but it's boring as fuck. So I don't know what we could do to spice it up. to do a blue liner. This is what we're gonna do. Take this like flat top BH brush. This is the Studio Pro number 11 brush, and going with the Smashbox Always On liquid or cream shadow in the shade Ultramarine. This is god awful for eyeshadow. It's really good as a liner though, so that's what I use it for. That's the only reason I have kept it. So I'm gonna do a wing with this. Doesn't make it that much more interesting, but at least a little bit. I feel like I've really learned how to do a wing recently. I don't know what happened, but I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying that it's pretty awesome that after 6 years of doing makeup, I discovered that you can how to do a wing like easily. It just came with time. Still not like the most interesting thing ever, but I think I'm gonna do a blue inner corner, which will tie it all together and make it a little bit more fun. Sorry, I just like scratched the inside of my nose in front of you, and I'm not gonna wash my hands because I'm a disgusting ass bitch. Anyway, I'm gonna do the other eye really quick, then I'll be back. I will simply die if I'm not in focus, and the lighting looks terrible, but it could just be the viewfinder. Could. I've been proven wrong before, so I'm going to ignore that for now. And we can do my base, which I'm super excited about because I actually love doing my base. My eyes right now, I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to deal with because they don't always look good, but my base always looks good. I know what I'm doing. All right, first I'm gonna go on with my primer. I'm gonna use the Lemons primer. It's like an oil balance primer. This is in my project pan. The dropper's kind of screwed, so I'm just kind of getting what I can and throwing that on my face. I don't really feel like this mattifies too much, so I don't mind it. It's not dewy by any means, so you know, it'd be nicer if I had something dewier. I'm gonna add just like a little bit more, and then I am going to add something dewier on top just because I can. I don't have to stick to one primer. Actually, that's a lie. I'll just use my cream highlighter. And then I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Jelly Pop Glow Stick, also in my project pan, to hit the high points of my face. Under my foundation, I would use this kind of like I used the Pat McGrath one and just put it like everywhere, but there is like a little bit of glitter in it, and it's like a pink glitter. So I would prefer not to have that, but I will add it to the high points. And this is a nice kind of greasy highlighter. So I'm just gonna go on with my fingers and tap. I'm gonna hit my face with just a little bit of the Fourth Ray Beauty Do It Hydrating Hyaluronic Mist. And then I'm gonna show you guys one of the many ways I do my base right now. I feel like I'm kind of off and on, but I have been liking a little bit of a, I don't want to say fuller coverage, but I definitely don't like as light and as dewy as I have liked in the past year, mostly because I don't like that my face transfers everywhere, and I never had that issue, and suddenly it's been bothering me, so that might go away and it might not bother me anymore, so we'll find out. Okay, and while we're at it, I be changing the shade of everything I use. So first I'm going with concealer, like that's a lie. That's everything I just said is a lie. Ignore that editing, Rachel. So first I'm gonna start with a little bit of under contouring. Now this is not something I do all of the time, but I've been liking it a lot more recently. So this is some like really scratchy, kind of big fluffy like lid setting brush from Morphe. I'm gonna go in with my Huda Beauty Tan Tour. This one's in the shade Fair. It's not fair, but this is also my project pan. And I'm gonna under contour with this. So I'm gonna do my cheekbones. I like my contour a little bit higher up, but overall I like my face to still look pretty round, so I'm not like super strict about it. So I'm gonna throw that on, and then just a little bit on the nose, the lip. I just do under the lip. I don't really care about the top. And then I'll do my forehead, even though it's not showing at the moment, just for sake of making sure that everything looks good, regardless of the way my hair is styled. on my forehead, I generally just rub, and I always get into my hairline because it's my biggest pet peeve when I see the girlies on Instagram. I get it. Self-tan is fun. But when your hairline looks like this and your bronzer looks like this, that looks bad. So I bring it all the way in there. Now that I've done that, I'm going to conceal. First, I'm going to go in with a little bit of this white concealer from Cover FX because the concealer I'm using is a little bit darker than I want it to be at the moment. So I say a little bit, but I like a good amount of concealer, just like I keep it tight to the area that I want it. So I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. Actually, that's a lie. I'm gonna use this dry sponge from Colored Rain to blend it. And then I kind of use this to tidy up the sides of my nose as well. None of this really matters in the end because of the way I like to put my like blush and bronzer, but I don't know. Something about it is very therapeutic for me. So once we look stupid AF, I'm gonna go in with my actual Project Pan concealer, which is the LC Complete Remedy Sleek Concealer. I'm running pretty low on this, so I'm very happy. I have to squeeze pretty hard, and although this concealer isn't super dark, it does oxidize on me, and I don't really care for that. So I'm just kind of patting it on, and then I'm going to use the butt of the sponge to blend it out, just so I'm not mixing in with the white that's already on the sponge, because there's a little bit too much of it, and yeah. But I really like the way that this kind of makes my concealer look. It's quick and easy, but it's still very like efficient. It's effective. And right now I'm kind of all into color correcting, not color correcting, but making sure everything matches like borderline perfectly. Because I really hate, especially in the summer, like you're out in the sun and you look a fool. So I'm gonna take my bronzer brush and blend the concealer in with the bronzer. I know I called it cream contouring, but it is bronzer. It's not cool toned enough to contour with. Wonderful. Now I'm gonna go in with my Natasha Denona Foundation X in the shade 42. First, I want to check it because I feel like it might be a little bit too dark and orange for me right now. It sure is. Oh, so glad I checked. So I'm gonna take a two pumps on the back of my hand, and then I'm gonna add some of my Danessa Myricks waterproof cream color palette, the primary one. I'm gonna add some of the white and some of the blue. Actually, I lied. That looks great. Yeah. Get rid of the foundation. This is the IT Cosmetics Love is the Foundation brush that I'm using. And if this is a little bit too dark, I'm not too worried because it'll be easier for me to lighten that up, especially where I need it, just kind of like on my jaw. I think this is a pretty good match, but maybe just like a hair too dark. A small hair, but a hair nonetheless. I'm just kind of pressing that into my skin, and then I'll go right over the contour, or the cream bronzer, and it kind of hides it. Like, it doesn't really seem like we did much of anything, but for whatever reason I feel like the overall look always turns out a little bit better when I have this base to start with. Okay, we are in business. Let's see. Compared to my hands, we're a little dark. So I didn't use the full 2 pumps of that, just so you know. Okay, and then just right where I want some brightness, I'm gonna add the white. So I'm just gonna take this on my finger, put it on my chin, Cupid's bow, my forehead. And then I'm gonna add some down here. This one is a little bit more pigmented than like the Salt New York ones. I'm using this palette specifically because I found myself only using the Salt New York ones and I'm trying to use other things. And then I'm gonna add just like a tad right here, just because I blended a little bit of foundation in there. And then I'm gonna use my brush again and kind of pat that out, and it should lighten my face a little bit. Yup. I like this method. I feel like it does everything I need it to do without adding like a bunch of extra product, because a white is, you know, such a bright shade that I don't need a lot of it to lighten up what I need. So I just feel like this does a really good job of correcting and highlighting and all of that without adding like 10 layers of product here. So I like that a lot. All right, now we're gonna highlight again. I'm gonna use my powder highlight. This is Kaleidos Ray Writer. I don't like powder highlights. I will never like powder highlights. So I'm gonna load this up and put it under my blush and bronzer and all of that. That way I can't see it so much. I really do like the effect it gives on camera. I think it looks phenomenal on camera. But in person, I don't like it as much. But honestly, a lot of the qualms that I have with it are undetectable by anybody else that would look at my face. It's just me who notices, because I look at it in so much detail. But like the majority of the population wouldn't be like, oh, that looks extra textured there, or it's a little bit crusty there. Like the majority of the population wouldn't notice that on my skin. And then yeah, I know I'm a crazy person. I'm gonna add a little bit more tan to her. Just a little dot on my brush, and throw that on my face. That way the bronzer peeks through a little bit. Like I'm literally just tapping my brush in once to get a little bit more bronziness, but I do see it peeking through under the foundation because I don't wear a lot of foundation. I would just, whoa, like a heavier bronzer look than that. Maybe not. Look at that. Woof. And then for my blush, oh god, let's see how we can make this work. Okay, so I have two blushes in my project pan. One is Crimson Lover from Nude Sticks, and the other is this Kaja thing. I'm gonna use the Kaja one first. It's a really light pink. It's like barely there. I'm just gonna dip my brush in there and add that to my face really quick. I really like the formula of this, although I feel like I'm already really low, which I don't love because I don't feel like we had this for very long. But I know that that's, you know, always possible when you're going with a gimmickier kind of product. And a cushion at that. I mean, cushions go through really fast. Okay, so I put that on. I'm gonna add a little bit to the bridge of my nose. But it's pretty like subtle, pretty barely there. So now I'm gonna use a little bit of Crimson Lover, but this only ever works with a sponge, so we're gonna try a brush again. I'm just going to, this one, I feel like I have to waste a lot of product every time I use it. I just smudged it on the back of my hand. I'm gonna make sure it's sheared out, so it's not picking up a ton of product when I put it on, because this is basically like suspended in Vaseline, which I really love for the way it looks, but I don't love it so much for the way it applies most times. So I'm gonna pop this on. It's kind of a bruisier color on me, but in a flattering way. Hey, that worked pretty well. I don't know, man. I love it. But I am, since I used my foundation brush for all of that, I'm gonna go back in with the butt of this sponge just to clean it up a little bit. Because I went like a little hard today on my products. Okay. I like that a lot. I think we're looking real fire. Ooh, 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 ooh. I really like this combo a lot. A lot. So that's a good sign. Now I'm gonna finish off my, no, I lied. I'm gonna hit myself with some setting spray again. I'm gonna jump in with this brownie kind of pukey shade here. I'm gonna spray my brush and use that on my lower lash line because it's gonna get everywhere. It's a very like chunky, glittery shade. So It's so pretty though. It's one of my favorite like grungy like eyeshadows, honestly. It's the only shade that I've wanted to use out of both of my palettes. Like I'm like, oh, I just want to use that shade. But I did have green hair, so that makes sense. And then I kind of want to try this Smashbox as a liner, like in my waterline. So I'm just going to take a little bit on the back of my eyeshadow brush here and put it on my eye. I don't think I put it in the right spot. I don't think that works very well for a liner. Oh, there we go. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't bleed everywhere, but... Oh no. Okay, we wiped it away. No big deal. That's my favorite trick for like a cream liner. Back of your brush. It will work so much better than anything else you use. And then for my inner corner, I'm going to use the shade Bayberry, which is the light blue here. I'll probably hit my brow bone with this too. And this is on a Morphe M124. I don't know. And I'm going to try something for my lips. So I'm going to use my what I use for my eyebrows, my NYX eyebrow pencil in blonde, no, in taupe, because Vic has been using her brow pencil as a lip liner. I've seen this trend too. I've just never thought about it with the blonde shade because it's so like light in comparison to like my other lip liners, but I think it'll go perfect with the lip combo. So I've been doing what everybody tells you not to do and outlining the outside of my lip, or overlining the outside of my lip on the sides here. I don't know why everybody says not to do that. I think it looks better than overlining the top, and I really like overlining the Cupid's bow. Like, you guys have seen me do it 1,000 times. Does it ever look like right? No. But I still do it. I'll be out in a second. Baby, I'm filming, so you have to be quiet. You can't talk at all. Why? Because I'm filming. For my lipstick, I'm going to use Charlotte Tilbury Nude Kate. I think this is a really nice kind of warm tone peachy nude. She came down here. So I'm gonna throw that on, and it's kind of like a concealer-y nude on me, which I really don't mind. Like, I love a good concealer nude. And then I'm gonna use my gloss, which is the Tower 28 Gloss in Oat, heavily expired, might I add, but one of my favorite glosses. It just gives the most wet kind of look to the lips. I've never found anything else that comes close. Took us a while to get here, but here's the completed look. I really do like it. Let me see, is this light? If I turn it off, is it too... I think the lighting looks good. So I don't know, I love my base. I think it is so gorgeous and so dewy. With the blush and the highlighter. I love it. These eyes are cute. It's not like my favorite look ever, but like I don't dislike it either. So that's a win for me in terms of this palette, because I've been hating every single thing that I can create with it. Thank you for enjoying my eyeshadow palette negativity and my playing around with some makeup, because that's what I like to do. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you didn't dislike everything I said in this video. When I go back to edit it, I may decide that I dislike everything I said. We'll find out. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye!